It's time to rethink business networking. Let's talk about LinkedIn and H7 Tech Corner. I think you'll see some familiar faces. Let's go. All right, so let's get started. Diana Maureen has some very interesting information related to last week's conversation. Does everyone know how to find their SSI scores?
I always forget the link.
Okay, so Diana, can you take the share screen and show how to get to your SSI score and start with yours? Somebody's at my door. I need to answer it real quick. Sorry, guys.
Michelle, if you type in LISSI with a space between the two in Google, you'll get to the.
Or you can just follow the link I just popped into the chat.
Okay, and then I just need to save that link. That link is live and ready to go every time, right? So I
actually keep it up on my screen. Like I keep it up because I have two screens. I kind of keep it in the background. That way I don't forget about that score, and I can kind of check it daily to kind of see what mine is doing and not doing, and as I make changes, what it does and doesn't do.
Perfect, thank you.
So
question.
Yep.
This is going to sound really dumb.
That doesn't go here.
What does SSI stand for?
Social Selling Index.
Social Security Income.
And why is it important? Why is it important?
So what our perspective on LinkedIn is not unified. When we say our, I mean every single person that's on the LinkedIn platform. Okay. Mm-hmm. There's all these reasons why people talk about getting on there, and everyone's like, it's great for this, and I like doing that. My company focuses on results. Like what I do is point at a revenue number and say, we're going to make a number greater than this one last year, next year, right?
Got it.
Same concept is true on LinkedIn. Why do we get on the platform? Needs to have a universal definition so that we know that we're making progress.
That's right.
Okay. The SSI score gives us a place in space to measure that progress. Okay. Not an end all be all when it comes to money you're going to make from it. It doesn't, it's like video game, right? Like it doesn't really matter that much. You feel good about it, but like, what is the real outcome? Like, what's the benefit? So what we've done is we've gone through and we found a way to put a signpost in the ground, which is the SSI score. And then the definitions on the lines, when you look at your SSI score and you see 4 components of your score on the right side, those components you can start to increase and decrease by the activity on the platform. So what we want to do is try to figure out what those 4 categories are and how we affect them. That's what we've been talking about over the last 3 weeks. This will be the 3rd week of this. First week I introed SSI score and what it is. Second week we talked about establish your professional brand. And Diana, if you could hover over the little question mark that is next to find the right people, or that's fine. I'm sorry. No, yeah, the other one, establish your professional brand. Click on that. So if you scroll up a little bit, there you go. Establish your professional brand. Complete your profile with a customer in mind. Become a thought leader by publishing meaningful posts. This in particular, Marilyn, should apply to you. This number right here is a solid way for you to say, what was your score when I got involved? Just so we all are clear, Marilyn is a LinkedIn profile specialist, and she would help us affect this number. And then the second thing is publishing meaningful posts. Now, who's been in here when I have talked about the hashtags and how to communicate? Okay, not everybody. All right, so I'm gonna steal this back for a second, and then we'll talk about what you did, Diana, okay? So something that I talk about pretty often is there's 3 audiences in your posts, okay? And those audiences are, if I post something, whatever it is, I'm going to hit post. So 3 audiences in here. All right. And this is something that is not really published. This is not something I've learned, nothing I've read. This is what I've discovered over the course of years on the platform. Your 3 audiences, if I hit post here, it's going to go to all the people that are friendly with me, engaged with me, people that I've been messaging on the platform. When I post this, it'll go in their feed and it'll be at the top of their feed. Last night, relatively late in terms of LinkedIn on the East Coast, I posted something And many of you this morning when you logged into LinkedIn probably saw that near the top of your feed. And it had to do with determination. So there was a little picture that I put up there and something that had to do with determination. Those people that have been most recently engaging with me on messaging got that post, guarantee it. If you've been communicating with me on the LinkedIn platform, if you've been liking my posts or commenting, or you've been messaging me back and forth, almost guarantee that that picture was in the top of your feed, especially as it relates to the other people you communicate with on the platform. Okay, take that with a grain of salt. Understand exactly what I'm saying there. The more you use Messenger, the more likely you are to be in somebody's feed that you're messaging. All right, so that's the first audience. The second audience is going to be your hashtag audience. All right, so your hashtag. So if I do a hashtag CRM, there's a group of people that are following this hashtag. All right, and the way that you find out what hashtags you're following are right down here, followed hashtags. All right, you just go to your LinkedIn piece where you get the search bar and to start a post, and you scroll down to the bottom and you have followed hashtags. When you add a hashtag to any post, the people that are following that hashtag are going to get your post in their feed. That's the whole reason why they follow hashtags. So like for EOS, if it was hashtag EOS, and I don't even know if this exists, I assume it does because you guys have some pretty interesting followers. You've got 45,000 people that are following EOS.
That's not us.
That's not, I was going to say.
Go EOS, usually worldwide, I would say, or even Implemental, you'll see that. Yeah, go EOS worldwide, or you'll see us, either one.
So you only have 84 followers there.
That's really weird.
Let's check.
That can't be it.
Yes, Implementer. Well, I mean, there's a bunch of them. Yeah,
and it's not your company specifically. It's just people who follow EOS Implementer.
So
yeah, but they hashtag that all the time. So go on, next.
What about USL? Can you see that? That one. I see EOS live on Michelle's screen. I saw L for some reason. Look at that.
7 people. So just because, let's be clear here, like I want to be really clear here. You would think that some of these hashtags have more followers because people use them, right? Well, in Facebook, you see this all the time. Like, look how good my lunch looks. Hashtag nutritious lunches for everyone in the world. Hashtag I love to eat carrots. Hashtag Doug's a great guy. Like, nobody's following those hashtags. Those are like emphasis for the post. It's a ridiculous use of extra descriptor, right? It's silly. No one is following that shit. Like, if you think that your 3,000 hashtags on your posts has any impact on it in a worldwide situation, you'd be mistaken. Looking up what your hashtags are is really, really important. So just because people put hashtag EOS doesn't mean people are following hashtag EOS. Okay, this is a really important point. So do your homework, hit hashtag something, and use that second audience on all your posts. Now, I'm going to say this again, and I always say it. Only use 3 hashtags in your comments or in your posts. In your comments, you can use more if you want, but only 3 in every post. If you go 4 or 5, okay. If you go 6, you'd be killing yourself.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's also a difference between the hashtags you follow and the hashtags you put in your post, because the hashtags in your post are the people you want following you, and the people that you follow are things that interest you or maybe your customer. So they could be 2 completely different things. You do not have to use the same ones on your post that you follow, and vice versa. So you can follow hashtags that are completely different than the ones you put in your post. The ones you put in your post, you want to be relevant to the audience that you're trying to capture with that post.
That is correct. And I'm going to put a pin in this hashtag conversation right now because we're going to come back to it in a minute when Diana shows you what happened to her SSI score. The third audience, okay? The third audience, right? I'm going to put up another post here. I'm going to go stuff, And then I'm going to hashtag EOS worldwide and emotional intelligence. My spelling is atrocious. So
Well, you can select it.
right. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and post this. Now, when I go in here, you should always like your own post. I know it seems egotistical, but do it, especially immediately. Don't go back and be like 2 days later, oh, I forgot to like my post. No bearing on what's going to happen. Okay. Also, write your first comment and say awesome things and cool stuff about post. And then I'm going to do @Arthur. Now, the reason why I'd call out these people is real specific. Okay. It's not because I just want them to see my stuff. That is one reason why, right? So the second reason why is people that are going to comment on your post, you should try to call out, even if they're not like in your top reference points, right? So like a lot of people make a mistake here and they call out the same people all the time. And this wears me out because I have a lot to say and I always feel guilty when someone's like Mark Perone. I'm like, oh, things to say, right? Real quick to help out whoever wanted me to comment on it. If you call out people that are participating in the LinkedIn environment, but they are subject matter experts in the thing that you posted about, you would want them to get on with your post. This is your third audience. So people that typically wouldn't see your posts, that don't necessarily follow the hashtags that you're putting in there, but they are really, really specific, and they don't have to be first connections. They can be second connections. They can be influencers if you want. You can try to connect with people that you'd like to reach through your topics. So if you're talking about Daniel Pink, who talks about motivation in the book Drive, if I'm talking about motivations, I might tag him in here just because he'd be a good person to talk about things with. And you know, sometimes people are like, call out influencers if you want to become an influencer. Yeah, but I also want to put meaningful stuff on my post, because going back to my SSI score, if I can get engagement there, I've increased my impact on the platform and I look better to LinkedIn. If I can talk to Daniel Pink at any point in the future, I would actually be like fanboy him. Like for real, if he got on my post and did something, I love his book Drive. I would love to talk to him. This is something like that's a personal progress for me that would lead to professional success. So this is another way to use LinkedIn as a meaningful experience, not just to trick the algorithm, but to actually take something away from it. Is everybody clear on the three audiences? Do I need to review any of that stuff again? Because I talk really, really fast trying to fit in a bunch of stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
What's a fanboy? I'm sorry.
Question about that, Mark, about is that everything that you're talking about, is that true for the personal page or the company page?
So the company perspective is a little bit different. You've got to separate your hats when you think about this, okay? And I've talked a lot about this. The company page is really, really powerful, right? But it has to be a little bit more general about, like, instead of talking about tactics, you would talk about strategy there. The company page is going to be something like if a company page were to call me out, I would very quickly respond to that because it controls a lot more people, right? A one-to-one thing is a little bit different. If you're going to call out somebody on who is somebody that I can...
Well, I can give you an example. Like, you don't want to put out a personal post on that, like, hey, who did this, who did that. This needs to be things that makes your company look like a subject matter expert. You want the posts in there to build people's confidence in your company so that they want to do business with you, or they want to tell others to do business with you. Does that help?
High level pieces of collateral are good on that page. Lead magnet assets. And, you know, we talk about this all the time with audience, message, channel, asset, and follow-up. Assets are good to put out on your company page where, you know, your opinion, Linda Lewis's opinion about the thing your company put out would be really relevant. Your company wouldn't necessarily want to put an opinion about something that an asset that they're posting. They would just want to put the asset out there. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
And then you take that and repost it on your personal page.
That's right.
And then it allows you to make comments on what your company's posting, which now makes you more valuable as the subject matter expert that your company's proving that you are.
Okay.
It's really confusing when we are solopreneurs in this arena. If you separate it out and think of the marketing department putting on that hat, what the company's marketing department's going to put out is going to be like an ROI calculator, right? It's going to be like, hey, followers, check out our new ROI calculator. It does blah, 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 blah. You as a member of that company would then repost it and say, hey, Tim, Nick, and George, you guys really need to see this because this is what I was talking about when I was on site last week. This is going to help you formulate your plan into blah, 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 blah. That's way more specific than the company should be.
And does it make sense to post that strategy on both the company page and the personal page?
It does, but you've got to be cognizant of your time, right? Like you're going to double your efforts and you're going to break your brain when it comes to like doing that. In some cases, you will end up getting stuck for 3 hours trying to put a post out if you're going to do it from both perspectives. Not to say you can't, right? And not to say you can't do it faster than that, but I've struggled with it myself, and I can add copy real quick and not even care about what I post. And it takes me time when I got to like go back to it. You do get a lot of metrics from the business page that you don't get on the personal page, and it's really, really powerful.
Linda, I would say it's, from a reader's perspective, it's slightly annoying when I get Hillary Dolby and then Hillary Dolby's company, and it's the exact same post.
Yeah.
Like, what that didn't do me any good. Why is that? Now, if you were to say, like Mark talked about, well, here's my personal take on blah, 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 blah. But when it's just a carbon copy, I find that to be redundant.
Yeah, totally true. So don't do it for the sake of doing it. Do it with a purpose. If you don't want to, you don't have to say Linda Lewis's opinion of what Linda Lewis's company put out is this. You can put out your company thing, and then later you can call the document out in like 2 days later. Like if you put in a persona thing, a persona development document, you can keep that as an asset on your company page, and you can call that out like to drive people back to your business page. You don't necessarily need to say everything from both perspectives.
But this is where digital marketing and campaign planning and all of that comes into play, because these can all be very powerful tools, but you really have to use them properly. You have to use them effectively, and you have to have your diligence about going on and on and on with it. Because if you just have this burst of a bunch of stuff and then you let that momentum die, then you did all that for naught. And so until you're ready to like continue that on, that may not be something you want to take on.
All right, so I got to move on from that. The thing that I want to get into is what Diana discovered last week on the hashtag situation. So I'm going to show you guys where the hashtag piece is. Let me see if I can find it. And then we're going to talk about what she did and how it affected, how it impacted her SSI score almost immediately. It was crazy. If I can find the stinking thing.
So while he's doing that, I can kind of premise this, and a lot of people don't know, but I have my 9-to-5 job, and then I also am the program director for a nonprofit. Well, I had been splitting my LinkedIn between the two, and so I had a lot of business stuff on there and a lot of the nonprofit stuff on my page as well. So I decided that after doing all of this stuff with Mark and trying to go through and do all of this, that I really needed to focus on my business right now. Well, when I went and looked at the hashtags that I followed, I only had 5 of them, but one of them was like hashtag philanthropy, because of the fact that I was part of a nonprofit. I wanted to see what other nonprofits were posting and so on and so forth. And then I had another one but they all 3 out of the 5 had to do with philanthropy. It had to do with being a part of that nonprofit. And so I deleted those off of my page.
Hold on, pause there 1 second.
Okay.
I want to show you what that means, and I want to translate that a little bit. So 2 things: network SSI rank, industry rank, and team SSI rank. Okay. So I'm not really on a team, I'm one of one, right? Your industry, we talked about this before. Arthur figured out and I think Diana figured out where we could change industry on our LinkedIn profiles. So what it's going to do is compare you to your industry to give you the number on your percentage, right? Your network is another piece. Okay. So what happened is Diana literally went to her followed hashtags, right? You just scroll down on here, you hit followed hashtags, and you discovered that you are following 6 hashtags. I'm following 52. Okay. She started following hashtags when her focus was different, and her network, her SSI rank against her network was different. So there's a comparative analysis going on here by LinkedIn. Well, then she went and she took some of the hashtags off. So she unfollowed a couple hashtags. So 3 of 6, right? Mm-hmm. So she cut them in half. You guys follow how that happened? Like, do you understand the workflow there? She just unfollowed some stuff. Now continue.
So then my current social selling index dropped 6 points. Like where Mark's is 79 there in the middle, I dropped 6 points just from deleting the hashtags.
So it went from what number to what number?
It went from 67 to 60.
And very specifically, this top number is the only one that was affected, right?
Yes.
So the hashtags that you're following affects your professional brand. This should be a moneymaker for you, Marilyn. Getting this piece of information right here is establishing your personal brand, following the correct hashtags against the industry that you're in indicates what your score is going to be on this, well, part of the indicator on establish your professional brand. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
So there's a couple things here if you start to think about it. If your connection base in your network changes from CEO to CFO, and everything that you're following is CEO related, if you dump the CEO related hashtags and move over to CFO related hashtags, your personal brand should go up.
Well, and the other thing that I did recently was I used to be in the financial industry, and because most of my network is financial related, most of the people that follow me, most of the people that I'm connected with, probably a third, if not more, they're all in the financial industry. So as soon as I changed my industry from professional to information technology and services, everything dipped, like everything just nosedived, because of the fact that everything that I have done, everything that I used to comment on, everything that I used to do, it was all focused around the financial industry. Now, because of the recent activity, some of my scores went up, but the majority of them went down, like being, building relationships and find the right people took the biggest hit when I changed my industry.
Does anybody have a question about that?
How do we check our industry?
Scroll down, Mark.
On here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It says it right there where it says people in your industry. It says what industry you're in right there. Now, if it's not correct or you want to change it, then you have to go to your profile.
Which, if you click on here,
go view your profile. Yep, either way.
So I don't have Sales Navigator, so I don't have those bottom numbers that you were talking about.
I don't have Sales Navigator, and I have them.
That was my question.
Now, see, Mark, I only have 2 boxes on the bottom of mine. It says people in your industry and people in your network, where Mark has a third one that says people on your team.
Oh, mine are just sideways. Okay, I do have that information.
Okay.
Sorry.
What were you gonna say,
Mark, this is like mind-blowing to me.
Every week.
When it says, find the right people.
Yep. That's where we're going next.
Doesn't there are 10 filters in Sales Navigator? Are you using Sales Navigator to do your searches for people, or what are you using to search for people if you need to have better prospects in less time? Is the Sales Navigator not doing the search for you? What is how does Sales Navigator fit in this? Because all my clients have Sales Navigator. I can't see being an effective lead gen campaign without Sales Navigator. Is that what you're doing?
No, so you can do, so free version and paid version are based on the same data, but they're wholly different concepts of LinkedIn, right? It's a deeper dive filtering wise in Navigator.
Right. And so is this with or without Navigator?
I have Navigator, and here's the full answer to this. I have no idea how to really affect these columns or these rows. And this is where Diana's discovery last week, like I've told everybody, like, you are literally watching me learn how to affect the SSI score while we do this. Like, we're crowdsourcing how to affect your SSI score. That's what we're doing right now.
Okay, so my marketing mind is going a little bit off the track here. I just want to know, just a simple question. The SSI part of find the right people. If I have the 10 filters on Sales Navigator, do I need to be concerned with my SSI score here because I can't find the right people? Or is it if I don't have Sales Navigator that I need to be able to find the right?
It's not a simple answer because they're correlating, right? So I still have filters in free version. If I go director of marketing, I can search for people that I'm going to connect with. So if LinkedIn sees me search director of marketing communications,
right,
and then I go to people, and then I go down to Cheryl and I hit, if I do activity-based prospecting first, then I end up connecting with her. I don't know if the one-to-one reporting here is if I searched marketing director communications, found Cheryl and hit connect, if she connects with me, it might affect that line item. That could be the one-to-one correlating value there. Now, how do I have find the right people score of 20 in this category? No clue.
So can I ask another question?
Yeah.
And I can quickly take a quick stab. I don't think they're related at all. I think this SSI score is based on your behavior on LinkedIn and your settings in Navigator. They're what you do. I'm not thinking they're connected anyway. I haven't seen any connection. Because that's how you generate leads, how you search. But this is your behavior on LinkedIn.
This is behavior on LinkedIn. Okay. Thank you so much for explaining that concept. I just needed, my technical mind needs a concept explanation. So this is describing my behavior on LinkedIn. Am I behaving well or aren't I behaving
well? It does appear that way. Yeah. I will tell you that we have somebody who's brand new to LinkedIn, like they just started their profile, and we're watching the SSI score very, very closely, and we're documenting what we're doing and what scores it affects. So from building from scratch, we're taking that, like LinkedIn makes a huge deal about adding a picture to your profile. So we added the very first picture to this person's profile, but their SSI score went up 1 point.
That's great, Diane. I'm glad you're doing that. I am looking at this from a marketing point of view, and that's all I have, obviously you want a high SSI score. I was just getting marketing and behavior confused.
Gotcha. Okay, so what we've got to do over the next week is I would like to try to discover something like what Diana's story was. I don't know how to affect this. Like, this is one of the things, like one of the reasons why I'm doing it in here is so that I can use everybody else's mind to help figure this stuff out, right? Like, I don't necessarily know what identify better prospects in less time using efficient search and research tools means on the LinkedIn platform. Like, I wish I had a checklist here. Are you doing this? Are you doing that? Are you doing this? Like, that would be much better to say, I want to do more of that thing you're trying to get me to check off. So any help that anybody can lend to this situation would help us all. All right.
And remember, Mark, they used to have videos here, which is very irritating. Before, they would have this, but there were videos you can watch, like a slideshow that will tell you the things you should do to improve each of those categories. And I can't believe they're no longer there. So that's very strange.
So they used to have it, but they always bumped out to like weird videos too, and they weren't very well done. I don't know what's going on here. I'll have to look this up and I can get you guys a link later to it. They did have the videos though. I do remember that. They trimmed it down. So if everyone could try to focus their efforts going into next week on find the right people, whatever that interpretation is to you, and let's get a little bit of, group think put together on this. Like if you're searching for people, pay attention to this score, this specific score, and let's see if it goes up or down over the next week or next couple of weeks. It's going to be the same with engage with insights, but this, I think we've got a little bit better handle on. I think that there's some activity we can do where if people are reacting to what we put up, it's going to change the score quickly. And this is one where Suresh said he and I are identical on our scores except for this number right here. So Suresh, has your number moved at all based on your activity? And we have to go to the next room just so you guys, we got to wrap up just so you guys know.
Just one.
Just 1 point?
Yeah, I didn't have much happening, so but I'm going to focus this week on it.
Okay, cool. So if you guys could buy into that, that would be really, really helpful. All right. I'm going to jump into the main room because we've got to kind of follow through with what we said we were going to do. You guys have any questions about any of this stuff right now? No? Okay. All right, cool. We're going
Tons, but no time.
Yeah, sorry.